Hey guys, it's Klinger with Vital MX, and we're here with Ricky Yorks.
How are you guys doing?
Today we're at Fox Raceway, and we're checking out the 2020 KTM 350 SXF. Now, this bike got pretty much the same changes that the 250 and 450 got. That includes a little bit different internals in the fork, different shock settings. There is the vented airbox cover. The map on this bike, the mapping, both 1 and 2, are exactly the same as last year's, as the 2019s. The only other change was they went from a 50 tooth rear sprocket to a 51. So how does it compare to the 250s you've been riding, the 450s? What do you think?
Really, I think it was perfect balance of lightweight, easy to throw into the turns, easy to jump like a 250 with 450 peak horsepower. And I just say the peak horsepower because it doesn't have that arm yanking torque like a 450. You do have to ride it higher up in the rev range.
It's got more torque than a 250, but it isn't like torque heavy. That's not where the power is. Screaming the bike to the top of the rev range, bouncing off the rev limiter. If that's the kind of rider you are, I think this might be a better choice than a 450.
Although on paper it's not a lot lighter weight, it felt a lot lighter on the track, and it didn't have that inertia of the bigger piston, of the bigger stroke, the bigger engine, where it just felt very light on its feet.
Because you're kind of revving it out more, there is more engine braking. I mean, it has a bigger piston obviously than the 250, so when you're that high in the RPM and you let off, I noticed that it kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Then I got used to it, so I was kind of expecting it. But it's also, you can adjust your style, or like you, I think you prefer a lot of engine braking.
Yeah, I like the engine braking. I would like to wind the thing out and then come into the turn and let the engine slow me down, and I could actually ease up on the rear and front brake. I thought the bike was easier to ride than the 450s.
As far as the handling goes, it's just a really light feeling bike, really agile on the track.
Both the KTM Husky 250, 350, 450, I thought was a good package as far as having good stability and still turning well.
One kind of con to the air fork, I mean, this is probably the best air fork that we've ridden, but stock air pressure is 10.4 bar. When we checked it after about half a day of riding, it was 10.8, so it crept up quite a bit. So we lowered that back down. That felt great to me. The shock felt a little bit like it was a little too low when I was coming to jump faces, so we went a quarter turn on a high speed, overall half turn stiffer, just to get better balance.
I love the power. I love the characteristic of the engine. I could scream it like a 250F, but it pulled me like a 450, whereas the 250F, when I ride it, being that I'm 200 pounds, it does a lot more screaming than it does pushing me.
You still have to give it a little more respect than a 250. And it kind of boosts the fun factor, because you're not worried about big jumps or it falling on its face, because it didn't really fall on its face.
Yeah.
So overall, we had a really good day riding the 350. It's both of us, we ride a lot of the 250s and the 450s with all the intros and everything, and I think we do a little bit of a disservice in forgetting about the 350s sometimes. And in this video, we're here to tell you, don't forget about the 350s. They're really fun to ride.
This is a bold statement, but in 12, 13 years of testing, that was probably my favorite production bike to ride.
If you want to see more videos, go to our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.